Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. A very good day to you all. I hope and I wish your day begins with happiness and ends with happiness. To fetch happiness, the most important thing is to show gratitude, being thankful. Being thankful for what you have. Being thankful for the smallest of the smallest or the biggest of the biggest. Gratitude turns what we have into enough. It gives you contentment, satisfaction. You learn to live with what you have. The greed finishes. Hope begins. So let's begin the day with the same hope and wish and thank Allah Ta'ala for unlimited bounties He has blessed us all with. So the topic for the day is natural topography of the Balochistan Plateau. So where is Balochistan Plateau located? Yes, it's over here in the mid of our Balochistan continent. Sorry, Balochistan province. Before we further proceed to the natural topography of Balochistan, let's quickly recap what we did last class. We learned about the Western Mountains. We learned that there are 4 mountain ranges when we talk of Western Mountains, which include Waziristan Hills, Suleiman Range, Kirthar Range, and Safed Ko. Waziristan Hills are barren and more towards covering the area of Fata and KPK. Suleiman Range acts as a natural barrier between Balochistan and Punjab. Kirthar Range is a natural border between Balochistan and Sindh. And Safed Ko is called as Safed Ko because it is always covered with snow and apparently look like white mountains. People living there practice nomadic lifestyle. This question was given in your previous lesson to answer. Nomadic lifestyle is the lifestyle of people who live in those areas where there is shortage of water and they move from one place to another in search of water. And wherever they find the water resource, they settle over there, spend their time. And when the water resource about to end, they move on to another place. So this is nomadic lifestyle, that is moving from one place to another in search of water. Low population density, as this is a mountainous region, very few people live there, poor infrastructure, some mountainous valleys, very less developed or urban settlements. So this is all we discussed in the previous class. So let's proceed and move on with our topic today, which is Balochistan Plateau. Balochistan Plateau. First of all, what is a plateau? It is a flat, elevated land. Elevated means it is rising up from the normal surface. Now this entire region of Balochistan Plateau is divided into 4 components. Northern basins, western basins, mountain ranges, and then in the south, coastal areas. But the first question is, what are basins? Anyone has an idea? What are basins? These are depressions, like a huge bowl sort of a body, a surface which is depressed. That is called basins. In Balochistan, the basins are also divided into two as per their location: northern basin and western basin. Now, coming to the Balochistan plateau and its location. Balochistan plateau is located in the southwest of Pakistan, in the province of Balochistan. They are in the west of Suleiman and Kirthar ranges, and they cover the area of Balochistan. As I told you, that a plateau is a land which is elevated from the surface. So the altitude is 600 to 3010 meters, and it covers a very large area of 347,190 square kilometers. Now, this entire which you see over here is Balochistan Plateau, which includes some of the hills. As you look over here, Chagai Hills, Seahan, Central Makran, Hala Range, Pub Range, and Central Barohi. Along with that, there is coastal region as well, Makran coastal region. So all these together make up the Balochistan Plateau. So in simple words, we can say that the Balochistan Plateau is a combination of flatland and mountains, rugged area, and in some places, fertile land can also be seen. Smooth and flat surfaces are also observed. So the first of the four components of Balochistan Plateau, let's begin with the northern basins. Basins of northern Balochistan. As I discussed earlier, that basins are irregular depressions. Northern Balochistan has two very popular places which are located between Toba Kakar and Kirthar range. So this entire region is basically the northern Balochistan. The two popular places are Job and Loralai. Job and Loralai are located close to the capital of Balochistan, Quetta. Quetta itself is a valley. It is located between two huge mountains. This land is also known as Bowl of Balochistan. When rain occurs, this place receives water, rivers. Usually, during winters, the weather is extremely cold. In some parts of this region, summers are mild, while in other parts, it is very, very hot. You must have heard from your parents or in news that in winters, when it gets very cold in Karachi, we say these are the winds from Quetta. Or now the Balochistan winds are blowing into the city, because in winters the temperature drops. In Quetta, going below 0 degree or even 1-2 degree snowfall is very, very common. And in this time, from December till March, it precipitates in this region. Now, these areas which are part of northern Balochistan, as I just showed you on This map, this entire region has mostly lifestyle, which is people moving from one place to another. Climate we just discussed, very cold during winters, mild summers, or some areas might have extreme summers. Now, what is there in the western Balochistan? Western Balochistan is a region, a basin, which lies between Chagai Hills, Rasko, Siahan, and central Makran. So this is over here. Chagai Hill, Siahan, central Makran, and this place. So this region basically covers the western basins of Balochistan Plateau. Chagai Hills. What are they famous for? In the recent years, in 1998, a very important incident took place in the history of Pakistan when Pakistan emerged as a power. What was that event? Kindly write down in the answers or for your Google Classroom comments. What is the reason of Chagai Hill's fame? I'll repeat the question at the end of the class. Now, this area, this region, which we have just discussed, lying between Rasko, Central Makran, Siahan, and Chagai, Siahan, Central Makran, and Rasko. This place is completely surrounded by land. There is no exposure to sea. Now, at this point, if we look towards the north from Chagai Hills, this region is Afghanistan. If you look towards the west of this region, this is Iran. And this place, Rasko, Chagai Hills, Siahan, and Central Makran, they are disconnected from sea. They have no access to the sea. So when it rains, the temporary rivers start to flow. The streams become active and they gather on the surface of the ground, making temporary lakes. These temporary lakes, which are formed, are called hammams. If you look at the map over here, you can see Hamane Mashkhel and Hamane Lora. Hammams are temporary lakes which are made during summers or winters whenever it rains. As there are no rivers in this region, the water flows to the surface and stays there for a period of time. As it stays on the surface of the land, it forms a lake. This lake may dry up after a certain period of time. In the local language, temporary lakes are called hammams. These hammams, when it starts to get hot and hotter, the water evaporates, leaving behind the salt pans. These salt pans remain on the surface and at times they even increase the salinity of the land. During the rainy season, these hammams are very active. They become source of supply of water for the people who are moving in search of water resources. So these temporary lakes or hammams become the source of water for people who are nomads moving around. But as the heat increases in the peak season of summer, the water evaporates and leave behind salt. These salt pans later on increases the salinity of this area. The largest temporary lake in the western part of the Kharan Desert is Hamone Mushkil. So the largest temporary lake of Balochistan is Hamane Mushkil. I quickly repeat, the western basins of Balochistan are located, or this area is located between Chagai Hill, Siahan Range, Central Makran Range, and Rasko. They have temporary rivers which flow during, or we can't say rivers, they have temporary streams which flow during the season of rain. As they have no outlet to the sea, this water collects on the surface, forming temporary lakes. In local language, these temporary lakes are called hammams. These hammams can be source of water for the nomads. But as the temperature rises in summers, the water evaporates, leaving behind salt pans. The largest of the hammam in the western basins of Balochistan is Hamane Mashkhail. So moving on to the third component of Balochistan Plateau. It is a series of 8 mountain ranges. These are barren mountains, but highly rich in different metals. Our Balochistan province is blessed with the natural minerals. These minerals are very, very helpful. If they are dug out from the ground, excavated, mined, they can bring fortune to the country. So now what are those 8 mountain ranges which make up the mountain ranges of Balochistan Plateau? Central Makran Range, Siahan Range, Chagai Hills, Rasko, Central Barohi Range, Hala Range, and Pub Range, Toba Kakad Range. So what mountains are there in the Balochistan Plateau? Let's begin once again. Toba Kakad Range, Central Barohi Range, Pub Range, Hala Range, Central Makran Range, Siahan Range, Rasko, and Chagai Hills. These mountains are very, very barren, do not support settlement, very dry weather, lack of rainfall, but highly mineralized, rich in natural minerals. One of the largest mine of gold and copper is located in the same region at a place called Sendak. The last of the Balochistan Plateau component is the coastal area. The coastal area of Balochistan is one of the largest coastline. If you look at the map, follow my cursor, you will see that the coastal part of Balochistan is much bigger than the coastal part of Sindh. Makran Coast Range makes up the mountains in the western coastal region. The eastern coastal region has Lasbela Plain, which has sand dunes, while the western has Makran Coastal Range. And this is exactly the place where the Gavadar port is under construction. This region is close to the sea and is better as per the climate, has more water resources. Hub, Paroli, Hingol, and Dasht are some important rivers which flow in this region, like Hub flows over here, Dasht over here, and they all fall into the Arabian Sea. So the coastal area of Balochistan is divided into two parts. Eastern part, which is made up of Lasbela Plain, mostly covered with sand dunes. Western part, which is made up of Makran coast and covers the part of sea over there. This is the region of Makran coast where the Gavadar port is under construction. This place has 4 rivers flowing through: Hub, Paroli, Hingol, and Dasht. Hingol is also popular as a tourist destination. Lady of Hope is there, and it is a national park. Now, Balochistan has so much stored in it. It has variety of opportunities, minerals, but what are its economic potential? How supportive can it be for the development of economy? Let's start from the water resources. As we discussed earlier, this region is very dry. There are very few rivers flowing through, very less rainfall. So, there are no major sources of water, and the province faces scarcity of both drinking and irrigation water, which means that farming can only be done in restricted areas. The entire province does not support farming. There are some different ways through which the water can be fetched to the fields or farms, and that is through carres. Carres is a system which is followed in Balochistan, where the underground tunnels are made in order to bring water from the foothills. Very less or almost no tube wells can be installed in this region because of the mountains. Then comes the next, transport and communication. Most of the roads and railways lines have been built without keeping in view economic considerations. Maybe for your surprise, Quetta and the small places which come in between are only connected through the metalled or the concrete roads. Now the road network has further enhanced or elaborated by the construction of Gavadar Port. Whereas most of the areas lack link roads between the producing areas and the main road. That is the reason why you looked at the picture, the map of Balochistan, it has such a long coastline. But the fish which is caught over there cannot be brought to the market just due to the lack of transportation and communication. The economic structure. So what do people actually do? How do they survive? Their main occupation in some regions is crop farming. They keep livestock. They sell the products of livestock for their survival. While some are miners, they mine the minerals and sell them, or they work through companies which are sold. The minerals are sold in the local or international market. But this is not completely done. Due to the lack of infrastructure, many of the mines cannot be reached. Agriculture includes the fruit and vegetable seed production. It means that they process them and sell them to different parts. As I shared earlier, that due to the long coastline, fishing is also done. But this is at a very small scale. In the coming future, Ormara, Pasni, Javani, and Gawadar are going to be very popular fishing ports. Now let's quickly revise and recall. Balochistan Plateau is comprised of 4 features. Western Balochistan, basins of Western Balochistan, basin of Northern Balochistan, mountain ranges, and the coastal area. The area lacks water due to the dry weather, very less rain, and mostly when it rains only during the rainy season. The water is collected during the rainy season. In the rainy season, this water collects on the surface and forms temporary lakes which are called hammams. These hammams can be the source of water for the nomads. But as the temperature increases, this water evaporates and they dry up, leaving behind salt pans, which further increases the salinity of the region. So very, very thank you to all of you for being here, for being attentive listeners. I hopefully you people have take down the notes. Don't forget to write the answer in the comment. See you all in the next class. Stay safe, stay indoors, take care of yourself and your loved ones. Till then, Allah Hafiz.